Hi and welcome to Terry Talks Movies. This time around, I've got 3 new releases from Imprint Films and ViaVision, and they're very, very different. One's a box set of classic comedy, one is a classic war film, and the other one is about working people sticking it to the man. So let's get started with the comedy collection. This is what you might call a vulgar pleasure, because it's vulgar and it's a pleasure. Carry On collection number 4. It's got all of the gang in there. Sid James, Charles Hawtrey, Hattie Jakes, a lot of them. Now, only 2 of these movies are actually called Carry On something. The other 2 have different names, but are very much Carry On movies. The first one we got is one of the classics, Carry On Doctor, which stars Frankie Howard, Sid James, Kenneth Williams, Charles Hawtrey, Jim Dale, Barbara Windsor, Hattie Jakes, Joan Sims, Bernard Breslau's in there as well. Like most of the Carry On movies, it was directed by Gerald Thomas. It's got a lot of bedpan jokes in it. It's got a lot of jokes about people being in the hospital. It's got a lot of male gaze about the nurses. You know the kind of stuff it is. I'm glad this kind of stuff's coming out on Blu-ray. It's not for everybody, let's face it. But on the other hand, it is a lot of fun. The actors are comic actors, and in some cases, like Sid James and Bernard Breslau, they also did a lot of dramatic roles. This one you either love it or you don't. The extras on this are audio commentary by Jim Dale, theatrical trailer, photo gallery, and there's an episode of an 1975 ATV comedy series called Carry On Laughing, The Sobbing Cavalier. And there's also episode 1 of a 1980s television Best of Carry On Films compilation series. So you get a fair bit extra in there as well. I unashamedly love these things. So there's your first one. Next one, we got the rhyming slang one, Carry On Up the Khyber. And if you don't know what rhyming slang of Khyber Pass is, you really need to go back to school. It does have a little bit of brown face. I think Bernard Breslau plays an Indian guy in it. Still a lot of fun. This one's got Sid James, Kenneth Williams, Charles Hawtrey, Roy Castle, Joan Sims, Angela Douglas, Bernard Breslau, and Peter Butterworth. Extras are audio commentary by the producer Peter Rogers, theatrical trailer, photo gallery, another episode of the 1975 ATV comedy series Carry On Laughing, Orgy and Bess, and episode 15 of the Thames Television Best of Carry On Films compilation series. So you got extras on that as well. Then we've got one where they got in an American to be in a Carry On movie, and the comedy doesn't quite blend, but what can you do? Follow That Camel. It's got Phil Silvers in there as well. Kenneth Williams, Jim Dale, Charles Hawtrey, Joan Sims, Angela Douglas, Peter Butterworth, Bernard Breslau again, audio commentary by Jim Dale, archive on-set interview with Phil Silvers, who of course was Sergeant Bilko in the Bilko TV series, theatrical trailer, photo gallery, Carry On Laughing, another episode of that one, The Barrett Outlook, and episode 6 of the 1980s Thames Television Best of Carry On Films compilation series. This one's definitely a lesser one for me. I think that Phil Silver's style of comedy doesn't quite blend with the Carry On style of comedy, but it's good to have it included as well. It is all part of the history of that particular franchise. This one I like. I saw it when I was a kid at the cinema. They decided to put it on for a Saturday matinee for children for reasons known best to the people programming the Regal Cinema in Liverpool. Don't lose your head. This one's set in the French Revolution, because of course it is. Special features another audio commentary by Jim Dale, Carry On composing conductor, arranger Gavin Sutherland on composer Eric Rogers, theatrical trailer, photo gallery, another Carry On Laughing episode, and another episode of the Thames Television Best of Carry On Films compilation series. All of these 4 are in the correct theatrical aspect ratio, because why in 2024/2025 would you put out something that's not? But a lot of fun. That's the kind of thing that people are going to buy for their mums and dads and grandparents and things like that. But I love them, and they're fun. They're vulgar pleasures. They're palate cleansers when you've been watching heavy and serious movies. Last night, for instance, I went to the last Cinemaniacs showing at the Astor Cinema and saw Possession for the second time this year, the 1981 film with Isabella Gianni, Sam Neill, and a tentacle monster. That one was kind of heavy, and I'm in the mood for doing something lighter. After I finish recording this video and getting it edited, I may well dip into a Carry On movie just to rid myself of some of the images I saw at the cinema last night. But it was fun. It was good to catch up with people. And it was good to end 2024 with Cinemaniacs with such a bold film. By the way, thank you to Imprint Films and ViaVision for sending these review copies out. I really do appreciate it. There are a couple of other releases this month. There is a great big set of The Never-Ending Story and also a 4K of Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. So if you're interested in those, I will post links in the description of the video. This next one is a Joseph E. Levine presentation, directed by Dickie Attenborough. One of the great big, large-scale war movies that were made in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. This was probably the last hurrah of that particular format, where you get a ton of really big-name actors in to play all of the major roles while telling an enormous World War II story. That was done with The Longest Day in the early 1960s, and in 1977, we got A Bridge Too Far. The cast in this is extraordinary and quite wide-ranging. There's only one major female character, a Dutch woman whose home ends up being a hospital for wounded soldiers, played by Liv Ullmann. The male cast, you got Dirk Bogarde, James Caan, Michael Caine, Sean Connery, Edward Fox, Elliot Gould, Gene Hackman, Anthony Hopkins, Hardy Kruger, Laurence Olivier, Ryan O'Neal, Robert Redford, and Max Minenschel. This is based on the book by Cornelius Ryan, which is the true story of Operation Market Garden in 1944, where Field Marshal Montgomery thought he could end the war by Christmas 1944 by doing a bold move, dropping a whole bunch of paratroopers and material into the Netherlands and capturing 3 bridges going up to Arnhem in the Netherlands. And that would give them a route through to the Ruhr Valley and straight into Germany. This was his idea because he was in a pissing competition with General Patton. And between the two of them, the Allies were trying to work out who had the best plans for things. They went with Montgomery's plan, Operation Market Garden, and it was a failure. They had so much trouble getting the material to the people. They had to airdrop in a lot of stuff and some of it crashed. They had delays getting the Polish supporting soldiers in because of fog. It was just a total cluster. And this is the story of it. And I watched it this morning. Pretty much took up most of the morning because it's a 3-hour plus movie. But it's incredible. Telling such a large-scale story across a whole bunch of different fronts, because not everybody was just in one spot. There were the tanks and armored vehicles. There were a whole bunch of people who were parachuted ahead of the rest of them to capture bridges and hold them. There was the Polish army guys, led by Gene Hackman playing a Pole, and he does a pretty good job of it. And there were a whole bunch of infantry. It's a large story, and keeping all of the bits lined up and in the mind of the audience was done incredibly well in this movie. As some of the extras in this say, the movie is basically an assistant director's movie. All of the B unit, all of the secondary unit stuff, which was done with the lots of tanks and soldiers and planes and blowing up towns and all that kind of stuff. That's where the movie really shines. Richard Attenborough came in and directed the actors. So when you've got a close-up on a known actor or a couple of other actors, that's Richard Attenborough. But the second unit did tons of stuff to fill out the world of this movie and to show World War II in a very confronting way for 1977. There is blood, there's death in this, there's the tragedy of war highlighted as much as anything else in this movie. It's an incredible film, and if you haven't seen it, you should. Now, I'm going to hold up the card, and then I'm going to read it off as well, because there's a ton of stuff in this, and then I'll show you what we've got in the box. It's on 4K and Blu-ray. So the 4K and Blu-ray special features, Dolby Vision, ultra high def with 1080p high definition presentations, restored from the original 35mm negative by Imprint Films, so thank you Imprint. Audio commentary by the screenwriter William Goldman and the main crew. William Goldman, of course, gave us The Princess Bride, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, All the President's Men. Fantastic screenwriter. If you can find his books, Adventures in the Screen Trade and What Lie Did I Tell, you should have them in your library. They are fantastic books about the process of making movies. And there's a theatrical trailer. On the other disc, the Blu-ray, special features, Attenborough War, a featurette with film historian and screenwriter C. Courtney Joyner from 2024, Joseph E. Levine Becoming the Showman, a featurette about the producer Joseph E. Levine from 2024, More Than Another War Movie, Elliot Gould Builds a Bridge Too Far, a 2024 interview with Elliot Gould, We Are the Cavalry, Filming a Bridge Too Far, an interview with camera operator Peter McDonald from 2024, Behind the Lens, Remembering Jeffrey Unsworth, an interview with clapper loader Tony Jackson and camera operator Peter McDonald. Jeffrey Unsworth was the director of photography on this. A Futile Mission, Scoring a Bridge Too Far, an interview with music historian John Burlingame from 2024. Making a Bridge Too Far, a feature-length documentary from Simon Lewis, author of The Making of a Bridge Too Far from 2024. But there's a lot more. The Arnhem Report, a rarely seen documentary about the making of the film from 1977. Theirs is the Glory, a film about the historic events in Arnhem, which was made in 1946. A Bridge Too Far, Heroes from the Sky, a documentary from 2001. A Distant Battle, Memories of Operation Market Garden, a 60th anniversary featurette from 2004. Richard Attenborough, A Filmmaker Remembers, an interview with director Richard Attenborough from 2002. Archival interviews with Richard Attenborough from 1977. Archival interviews with Tony Hopkins from 1977, and a photo gallery. So there is a ton of this stuff, and there's even more because there's a booklet in here as well. There's one of the stills from the back case of the presentation here. And inside the removable top box, there's your 4K and Blu-ray there. 4K, Blu-ray. There's a second disc with all of the special features on it. So you get a separate disc for that. There they are again on the back, and I've already read them out for you. And there's a booklet, A Bridge Too Far. There's Robert Redford on the back. A Blockbuster Too Far, Cinema Retro article by Simon Lewis from April 2022. So we've got the full article on that. We have a bit of a photo gallery. There's Ryan O'Neill and Dirk Bogarde. There's your Sean Connery. It's a good role for Connery. And he's the one who smacks down the hammer at the end of the film about what a cluster it was, Operation Market Garden. There's some more of the stills. James Caan has a really great scene in this movie, and it shows that Caan could act. It's with a doctor played by Arthur Hill, and there are a few little vignettes like that during the movie, which are a change of pace from boom, boom, bang, bang, and that scene works incredibly well. There's the doctor played by Arthur Hill and another doctor played by Laurence Olivier. There's Gene Hackman. Yeah, watching this film today was an experience. I hadn't seen it before, which surprised me because I've seen a lot of war films, but I hadn't actually seen A Bridge Too Far. And I read up a little bit about it on Wikipedia beforehand, not the movie, but the actual Operation Market Garden, and what a monstrous meat grinder of a battle it was. It lasted like 8 or 9 days in September 1944. And they screwed things up. The top end screwed up. The people on the ground did monstrously heroic things. But the resources and the backup wasn't there. And the plan right from the very start was a total nightmare. So, A Bridge Too Far you should check out. Totally worthwhile. And it sits alongside other movies. I mean, the only previous version I could find of this was in one of these Father's Day compilations, where this one's got The Great Escape, The Battle of Britain, A Bridge Too Far, and The Longest Day. And this one's got The Longest Day, Tora, 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 and Patton. These things used to come out on Father's Day and sold really well on DVD. This one says not for sale, which is kind of odd. But this one is a classic war film that doesn't get enough love. And it's a classic war film because it doesn't put a shine on war. It shows what a gritty, grueling, and human-breaking endeavor war is. And as much time is spent on the consequences of war as it is on the actual actions people do in war. It's a fantastic movie, and I'm probably going to be thinking about it for a few days after watching it today. Luna is here, and she's sitting in the window to watch everything in the world. Luna has just shown up. I don't know whether she's going to be on camera or not. It does depend on her. But the other thing I got from Imprint, which I like, it's a Sam Pekinpah movie, so why wouldn't I like it? It's the 4K and Blu-ray of Convoy, which I just found out is the most financially successful movie that Sam Pekinpah ever made. It stars Chris Christopherson, Ali McGraw, and Ernest Borgnine playing the bad guy. It's one of those truck-exploitation things, trucker movies with the CB radios from the 1970s. Which year is this one from? 1978. And I've watched a few of these lately. I watched White Line Fever, the one with Jan Michael Vincent, which is a very good movie as well. But Convoy is possibly Chris Christopherson's best film. It's based on a novelty song by C.W. McCall, Convoy, which you may well know. If you don't know, you can look it up on Spotify. But they adapted it and put it out, and Pekinpah made a very long film out of the story. And then, of course, the studio cut it down because Pekinpah was always at war with the studios. It's got the quote on the back, and I always like it when Imprint put quotes on the back. It says, "Film is a reflection of the world we live in, not an escape from it." Sam Pekinpah. I can respect that opinion. I'm not sure how Sam Pekinpah would incorporate a superhero narrative into that, but I'll respect that. And then we got the little hood ornament on Chris Christopherson's character's truck, the rubber duck. There is the card, and I'll hopefully freeze frame that and I'll read from you what it says. 4K presentation, 4K restoration from the original 35mm negative by Studio Canal. 1080p high-def presentation of the 115-minute extended cut. Audio commentary by film historians Paul Sador, Garner Simmons and Nick Redman on the 4K disc only. Audio commentary by filmmaker and Pekinpah scholar Mike Siegel. The Lost Convoy, a video essay by filmmaker Pekinpah scholar Mike Siegel. An interview with actor Franklin AJ on the 4K disc only because he plays one of the other truckers. And I did say other truckers, not mother truckers. Passion and Poetry, Sam's Trucker Movie, a documentary by Mike Siegel. So you get a few docos on this one. 3 lost scenes, deleted scenes illustrated with rare photos. In-jokes, friends and cameos featurette. And I'm going to watch that one. Trucker Notes from Norway, an interview with trucker expert Anders Lefaldli. The Duck Trucks featurette on the 4K disc only. Passion and Poetry with Pekinpah in Portugal Part 2. A featurette from Portuguese Pekinpah Retrospective 2022. Promoting Convoy, an animated gallery. Convoy and colour photo gallery. Filming Convoy, behind the scenes image galleries. Theatrical trailer, US TV spots, US radio spots with photo gallery. And inside the chunky box, there's your 4K. Inside you get the 4K and the Blu-ray. And in this you get the extended cut on the other disc with that cover. So if you're a completist with Sam Pekinpah, you can take your pick. You can watch the 4K, you can watch the extended cut on Blu-ray. Your choice. This is one of those movies that 1970s had a few of these where people were getting shafted by bosses and by the man and by corporations and companies. And there was a thread of genre through Hollywood of people challenging bosses who were shafting the working people. I mean, you could even include something like Norma Ray, the movie with Sally Field in them, as a part of that narrative. But movies like Convoy and White Line Fever specifically talked about that through the medium of long-distance trucking. It was that moment in history where CB radio had just come in, and so truck drivers could communicate with each other, sometimes across vast distances using CB radios. And they networked to form their own culture and their own language. And they warned when there were coppers ahead. They warned when there were breakdowns ahead. They were warned when there were changes in weather conditions. So in a sense, it was like an early truck driver internet where you could get useful information and also, crack jokes with your friends. That one is a great film. I enjoyed it when I watched it last year, and I'm going to enjoy it again when I watch it this year. And Ernest Borgnine playing a villain was always more interesting than Ernest Borgnine playing a nice guy. After he did McHale's Navy in the 1960s, he really wanted to break out of that cliche and started doing some really interesting roles. He was in a western called Chucker with Rod Taylor. He was in Emperor of the North with Lee Marvin, and he was in Convoy as well. Interesting, very varied character actor, Ernest Borgnine. And he was also a stamp collector, because I know somebody used to swap stamps with him. There's Convoy for you. The third release from Imprint ViaVision this month that I've got. And thank you very much to Imprint and ViaVision for giving me those review copies. This stuff is definitely in my wheelhouse. It's the kind of movies I like watching, with so many movies being released over the last 100 years or so. It's good to remind yourself of the ones you used to like. And I used to like movies like Convoy, and that 1970s aesthetic always grabs me. Yeah, it's very much not a comfort zone for me, but it's a time and a genre that I'm familiar with and I like a lot. So that's it for this time around. Thanks a lot for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. I'll post a link to these videos in the description. Check out Imprint ViaVision's website. There's a ton of stuff there. They sometimes have sales and you'll be able to pick things up cheaper. And of course, because the two main ones are Bridge Too Far and Convoy are on 4K, there's no regional restriction on these. By the way, you can support the channel by donating either through being a channel member or through being a patron at patreon.com/KerryTalksMovies. Next up, I've got a little Christmas video for you for the Wednesday video, where middle-aged geek girl and I exchange gifts. So there's a short video for Wednesday. I may try to do another video, I don't know. Thursday and Friday, I'm actually recording my 24-hour movie marathon, which is going to be a lot of fun, which means that Wednesday I've got to get Science Fiction Saturday recorded. I'm going to have a secretary or an assistant soon to get all this stuff lined up. So until I do all of that, and everything will be happening, and the channel will continue to regularly post videos during the holiday season. Tomorrow it's going to be 40 degrees here, centigrade, which is about 110. So if I don't get everything finished, you'll know why, but I will get everything finished. So until all of that stuff happens, watch some good movies, watch some bad movies, stay cool and stay hydrated, and I'll catch you next time.